Season 8, Episode 2, a review. So, Episode 2, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. This was definitely the episode that really builds up what I'm assuming is going to be the epic, the long-awaited battle that we've heard so much about leading up to Season 8. This is basically, the whole episode takes place the afternoon and the night before this great attack is expected to happen. We start off with the sort of trial, I suppose you could say, of Jaime Lannister. He's shown up and they all have seen him. We kind of skip past the initial crap and we just have him in the council room. And everyone is basically just taking a dump on him. Daenerys can't wait to roast him, literally. Sansa wants him dead, obviously. Everybody is kind of conspiring and saying, well, you know what, we should kill him. Tyrion stands up for him, but everyone's like, Tyrion, you're a fucking idiot, so we don't care what you think. And Jaime, he accepts that he's done all these bad things, but he also is trying to tell them that he's grown, that he wants to really fight against the Night King. And that comes to a head when Brienne stands up for him and says, you know, he is the only reason that I'm here. I would be dead now. I wouldn't have been able to save Sansa. I wouldn't have reunited everybody with Arya. You know, it's kind of a moment where she steps up and says, everybody just relax. We can deal with him later. And they all basically do. They say, you know what, you can fight for us, but if we survive, things are going to go bad for you. And from then on, we dovetail into a bunch of different characters. Arya goes to visit the Hound and just kind of talks a bunch of shit to him. And Beric Dondarrion's up there and they're having some wine. And they're basically just reminiscing about this, and that. She's wondering why he's there. He's always been very, selfish in a way. And he kind of snaps back with, well, I looked out for you the whole time. And that's a relationship where, I don't really know who to root for in that, because I actually always liked the Hound a lot. And the way that he looked after Arya, because they kind of fell into this relationship totally out of chance. She was escaping from the Brotherhood without banners in Season 3, and he captures her, but he's running away as well. They decide to just stick together out of kind of necessity. And he's also training her and trying to tell her that, you know, the ways of the world and everything. And then she betrayed him when all he was trying to do was keep her safe. That never kind of sat well with me as far as Arya's whole arc goes. But she leaves and goes and meets with Gendry, who's finished her Dragonglass spear. And I was really thinking that based on the design she gave him, it was going to be a spear, but with her Valyrian steel dagger on it. But it turns out it was just a regular old Dragonglass. And then they have this extremely strange kind of interaction, and then they bang, which was an interesting choice, I think, by Weiss and Benioff, because they had to know that it was going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. We've known Arya Stark and Maisie Williams, the actress who plays her, since she was 11 or 12, and we've seen her grow up on the show. And then to see her, you know, in one of these scenes that a lot of the older actors have been through and done was strange. And it's weird, too, because, we don't care that she was killing people all this time, but when she starts taking her clothes off, it's weird, but it is a little bit strange. However, Maisie Williams is an adult, and from what I've read about the scene and interview that she did about it, she was able to be in control of the whole thing, and she decided that, you know what, I'm going to do it, and if you don't like it, fuck you. That, I think, was good, and that was one of the bolder choices I think we've seen so far. Then we move on to, there's this huge group of people. There's Tormund, Davos, Jaime, Tyrion. They're all in there, and they're in just kind of the Great Hall, I guess. They're all just trying to keep warm. And they decide to have a couple drinks. Podrick's there too, and they start hanging out, and Podrick starts singing, and they're all talking about this could be our last night around. What are we going to do? And Tormund asks Brienne, what did you always want? And it kind of comes to light that she always wanted to be a knight. She doesn't really say it, but she always did want to be a knight, but she never could because she was a woman. Jaime gets up and knights her in front of everybody. And it's official because he himself is a knight, not just a regular knight either. He's like the king slaying, like king of the knights, like he was the greatest swordsman of all time before he lost his hand. So it carries all this extra gravitas, and everyone there is like, oh, this is crazy. And so she becomes a knight. That was a really powerful moment. Really, really good acting by Brienne. Samwell's acting in the first episode versus Brienne's acting in this. They both had to basically stare into the camera until they cry. And that's not easy. That's a very tough kind of thing to ask an actor to do. But Brienne did it with this very restrained, very stoic kind of way that was really natural and believable. The way that Sam did it was kind of, he went from like 0 to 60 really fast. Before this even happens, Tormund and Ed and Beric all show up. And they're like, look, the Night's King is on his way. He's going to be here probably in a few hours. So, just so you know, we're fucked, basically. And they devise this plan that is so stupid that I mean, there's really no other way that they could do it. But at the same time, it's so mind-bogglingly bad. There's so many things that are going to go wrong. There's so many people are going to die. Their plan is to bait the Night King out into the open because they are thinking if they kill the Night King, he kills everything because he controls all the creatures. And they know that if you kill kind of the commander of the Whites, then they all shatter into ice. So they think if they kill the Night King, so he's not going to expose himself until the right moment. However, they plan to bait Bran by putting him in the Godswood with Theon and like 16 Ironborn. They're going to watch after him and look after him while the Night King comes, and Jon and Daenerys are going to like get into position and like fire back. I mean, to me it was just insane. Like, Bran, I think that he's going to go into the Godswood and he's going to touch the tree and he's going to get another vision or something and it's going to help him out, but he's putting himself in this very vulnerable position. And this is not even to mention all the people out on the field who have to fight the million or so zombies and White Walkers out there. They basically just have to keep fighting until someone kills the Night King because they're so hopelessly outnumbered. There's all of the Free Folk, all of the Umbers, like all the people in the north that the White Walker army has kind of rolled over, has all been absorbed into their army. And it's freakish. And it's very scary for them, and this is the best plan they came up with. And they're like, we're going to make our stand at Winterfell. It just, to me, that just didn't make a whole lot of sense. Their plan is kind of in motion. Jaime tells Bran that he's sorry, and Bran forgives him, but he's not Bran anymore, so he says that they're both not the same people that they once were, which was pretty interesting. That was pretty cool. And the episode wraps up with a few smaller interludes. You see Jorah talking to Lyanna Mormont, who's the younger woman, the little girl, who is in control of Mormont ever since he left and his dad died. And Jorah's trying to tell her, like, you can't fight. You've got to be down in the crypts with everyone. And that's the only safe place. And she's like, no, fuck you. I've been fighting. I fought the Battle of the Bastards. I can give a shit. And Sam shows up and gives Jorah the sword, the House Tarly sword, Heartsbane, because it's Valyrian steel. Jorah doesn't have a Valyrian steel sword. It's the only thing that can kill a White Walker. And he goes, here, take it. It's yours. And Jorah's like, all right. Now it's time to get busy. And we kind of dovetail into what is another huge reckoning right at the end of the episode. Dany goes down and sees Jon in the crypts, and he's standing next to Lyanna Stark's grave, and he spills the beans. He doesn't hold back at all. He says, you know what, I'm the heir, I'm a Targaryen. And I was thinking that he was going to bury the lead by going, I'm the heir, but I don't want to be king. I just want to be king in the North. You can have everything else. I just want to be king in the North. But he didn't give a shit. He was like, I'm the rightful heir, and that's pretty much the way it's going to be. And right then and there, I think you could see that their conflict is going to be something big. I don't think it'll be resolved in the next episode during the battle, but after that, I think that the whole conflict of Game of Thrones is going to shift to Jon versus Dany, and they're going to kind of have their own war amongst themselves. You know, it's pretty freaky that because Daenerys really just on a dime just turns and goes, "Well, if you're a Targaryen, that makes you the last male heir, which gives you a claim, and I don't want that." And you really see in her face that she was almost ready to kill Jon, like right there. And Saved by the Bell, they hear the horns outside. They run up to the wall, and there's about 1 million White Walkers out there ready to battle. And that's how the episode ends. It was pretty intense. It was even there was no action. There was even less action in this episode than the first one. Because the first one you had them going to Umber, and there was the zombie child and all that stuff. Virtually no action at all. And yet, it was one of the better episodes because it strengthened really the bonds between these characters, and you got to see a lot of reunions, a lot of payoffs, a lot of characters you've never seen interact before got to interact. A lot of things got tied up, loose ends and whatnot, and that was pretty cool. I think that going into the next episode, this is going to be the big giant battle that we heard so much about, the longest battle ever filmed, that sort of thing. And I got a pretty good feeling that a lot of people are going to die. I'm very sure that Brienne of Tarth is going to die because they just knighted her. They basically gave her everything she ever wanted. That's a little bit too much of a win in a Game of Thrones universe. So I think she's going to die. I think Davos is probably going to die. Theon, absolutely. Theon and Bran. I think Bran's going to get one last vision, and then he's going to be killed. And then the Night King, I don't know if he like absorbs Bran's power or something. They haven't quite explained what will happen then, but I think they're both definitely going to perish. And I don't know. From then on, it's really just a fish in a barrel. Who's going to die and who's not. The only other thing that I think was strange was that they command all the women and children in Winterfell to go into the crypts under the city to be safe during the battle. And that obviously is not a good idea because the White Walkers can raise the dead. So I think that there's going to be a huge massacre down there. They sent Tyrion down there. Arya is going to be down there. A bunch of random kind of esoteric characters. Sam and Gilly are down there. Like, they're basically setting up a huge bloodbath in the crypts as well, which I think is going to be very sad and also probably very scary. I've seen a few glimpses in like the promotional trailers and things of Arya running in somewhere dark. She's covered in blood. I think that that's in the crypts. So we'll just kind of see how things shake out. I would probably give this episode a strong 9 out of 10. And it's a very strong 9 because nothing happens in it really. There's just a lot of talking, but all the talking is really engaging. It was really good writing, really good acting, really, really good acting, especially all the scenes with Brienne and Tyrion and Jaime and all of them around the fire. Naturalistic dialogue, you could tell when people are kind of getting drunk. Like, it was just really cool. And I look forward to logging in next week and seeing who gets kicked off of this shit sandwich.